What's up YouTube? My name is Caden and you're watching Gas It Garage. In today's video, we're going to be getting some of the machines ready to go to Mini Mayhem Spring 2026 with cars and cameras up at Busco Beach ATV Park in North Carolina. I have quite a bit to do on some of the smaller machines in this video, so enjoy. All right, it is that time of year again, guys. Mini Mayhem is coming up quick. It is next month, and I'm doing this a month ahead of time. So if anything does happen, I still have time to get parts and fix things. So I'm not rushing the week before Mini Mayhem, which I have had to do before. And trust me, it's not fun. I don't recommend it. So this is why I'm doing things a little bit more in advance this time. So anyway, we're going to be working on my red go-kart, the pit bike, my brother's mini bike, and the Motovox mini bike right here. Really all this needs is just a brake adjustment and then maybe an oil change and possibly a new chain and a new fender, but I'll kind of figure that out and play it by ear a little bit. Now the Yerf dog over there, I am doing a separate video on, so that will not be in this video. And then same thing with the 1000cc go-kart. I'm doing a separate video series on that, so be sure to go check that out. Anyway, on this go-kart, I'm going to be making a throttle stop so I don't break the throttle cable. And then I'm also going to be putting some padding in this seat because there's no suspension on this thing. And sometimes over big bumps, it absolutely kills your back. So I'm definitely doing that. And then I'm also going to be doing an oil change on the engine, and I'm going to build a guard for this air filter so the tire doesn't get this thing covered in mud. And then on the pit bike, I'm just going to add some oil because it is a little bit low. And then I need to tighten up the muffler mount because it's really loose. And then I did a video on this tire where I converted it to a tubeless setup. And I'm not really sure how well it worked because I still can't get this thing inflated, but I think it's just because the bead on the tire itself is a little bit damaged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some bead sealer and kind of paint it on the inside of that bead, and hopefully we can get that thing to inflate. And then on my brother's mini bike right here, it just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. It needs a new CVT cover because this one is very broken. It needs a new chain. And I'm going to be taking that fender right there and actually welding it on because I've tried to bolt it on before, but as you can see, the bolt hole is completely stripped out. So I'm going to be welding that on. So let's start by working on this go-kart and building a throttle stop, and then we can move on to changing the oil and building the air filter guard. Okay, so I've got this go-kart pretty much done other than the seat pads, which I'll do later in the video because I still have to go out and buy that. But I got the throttle stop done right here, and I cut it to the exact length it needs to be to where when the cable pulls the carburetor slide all the way to full, it stops right there. So we still get full throttle without stretching or breaking the cable. Now, I also changed the oil on this thing and tighten the chain by putting another washer on there. And right before I changed the oil, I cut this little notch just so the oil doesn't run underneath the engine on top of the engine plate and make a big mess. And that actually worked pretty well. And then I've also got this mud guard right here to prevent the air filter from getting covered in dirt and mud. So the next thing we're gonna work on is the Motovox mini bike right here. It doesn't need much. I'm just gonna change the oil on it because it is way overdue, and then I'm also gonna adjust the brakes. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, so the Motovox is pretty much done. I got the brakes adjusted, so now they work properly, and I also got the oil changed. So that thing's good to go. Now, let's go ahead and start working on the pit bike right here. It doesn't need a whole lot. It just needs the muffler mount tightened up a little bit, and this hose clamp tightened down, and then it also needs to be topped off with oil. And then I'm also just gonna check it over and make sure there's nothing else that needs to be done. And then I'm still waiting on the sealant that I ordered from Amazon to get here. It should actually be here today. So we're gonna go ahead and start by filling up the oil, tightening this up, and then once that sealant gets here, I'll seal up the bead on this rear tire and hopefully be able to get this thing inflated with air. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the bead sealer worked. There's no leaks around the edge of this tire, and I did get it to inflate, but it is leaking from this one spoke base right here. So I'm just gonna wait till it deflates itself, but I'm gonna leave it as long as I can to let this liquid rubber stuff seal up nicely. So the tire doesn't pop off the bead. And then I'm going to basically try and put some silicone or something around this to get it to stop leaking. I'll probably use JB Weld so it'll hold the pressure properly, but I gotta wait till this stops leaking out so I can do that. But I'll probably just end up doing it off camera because it's really tiny and just real easy to do. So while that's still deflating, let's go ahead and move on to my brother's mini bike right here. We need to put a new chain on it, but first I'm probably going to take it outside and wash it off because it's covered in dirt. And then after that, we'll put a new chain on it and get the fender welded on. so I have this thing washed off now, but I'm still waiting on the chain to get here that I ordered. So let's go ahead and do an oil change on this thing and then weld the fender on. All right, so I just got the rear fender welded on, and I think it looks pretty good. It's not perfect, and it is kind of dirty and beat up, but it's just a fender, whatever. Now, as for an oil change on this engine, I actually forgot that I did an oil change on this thing not actually too long ago, so I really don't need to change the oil on it right now. So I think the next thing we're going to do is put a chain on this thing, but it's not here yet, so I'll turn the camera back on once it gets here, and then we'll put it on. All right, guys, so the chain just got here for the mini bike, so let's go ahead and get this cut to length and put it on. All right, so now that the mini bike is done, the next thing and last thing we have to do is put a seat cushion in this go-kart because it vibrates a lot and it has no suspension and it absolutely destroys your butt and your back. So I bought this super cheap camping pad that we're gonna cut up, and I've got some spray adhesive sitting over there to glue this thing down with. So I'm gonna cut a piece of this to size, clean the seat up, and glue it down. And I'll probably put like a bag of concrete in there or something, or just a big heavy bag of something to weigh it down to really press it into the glue and get it to stick properly. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we will probably be done and ready to go. All right, so I just finished getting the seat pad in. I had put that 80-pound bag of concrete on it just to kind of weigh it down to make sure I have good adhesion from the pad to the seat. And it is stuck on there pretty well. I did put some duct tape on it to prevent it from peeling on the areas where it's going to have the most wear, because my back is going to be right here and I'm going to be sliding in and out of it right here. So I put some duct tape there just to prevent it from peeling up. But I think even though it doesn't look the greatest, I think that will be good on that. And I did sit in it already, and it is a lot better than it was. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I think I got everything done that I needed to get done. I still am working on the 1000cc go-kart. We actually just test drove it, and the chain keeps popping off, and I'm having an oil leak with it, so I have to fix that. But I am doing a separate video on it if it's not out already. If it is, click here for that. And then I'm also doing a separate video on the Yerf dog, which I haven't really filmed yet, but I will get on that as soon as possible. So thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And be sure to watch the Mini Mayhem video when that comes out, because we always have an absolute blast there. and I never really know what is going to happen. It's always super interesting and super fun to see all the other really cool builds people bring out, and it's always just an absolute blast to go ride with a whole bunch of people at an ATV park. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.